At least 28 people are dead after violent protests over the rape conviction of a popular religious leader in northern India. Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, who claims to have millions of followers, was found guilty of raping 2 women 15 years ago. Now, these are the latest pictures from the northern town of Panchkula. Thousands of his devotees rioted after the verdict was announced there, setting fire to vehicles, buildings and railway stations. Now, the security forces have responded by using live ammunition. The violence has also spread to other parts of northern India, including the capital Delhi, from where Justin Rolat has just sent this report.
This train was set on fire by an angry mob here in the Indian capital Delhi. Elsewhere in the city, buses have been torched. Now, the Guru has an absolutely enormous following. He claims 50 million people, and the fear is that violence could spread. Now, the epicenter of all of this is Panchkula, a town in the North Indian state of Haryana. That's where the court that convicted the Guru was being held, and tens of thousands of his followers gathered there to offer their support. Now, after the conviction for these 2 rapes was handed down, they clashed with the police. Throwing stones, the police responded with tear gas and water cannon, lathi charges. Lathis are the bamboo sticks the police use to control crowds here in India. When that did not pacify the crowd, they then fired live ammunition.
Justin Rolat there. Well, let's go live to Delhi and talk to Sanjoy Majumdar. Sanjoy, a sudden and very violent reaction to this verdict. What is the latest that you're hearing on the violence?
Well, Karen, since those clashes began several hours ago, this was soon after the verdict was announced in the town of Panchkula, north of where I am in the capital Delhi, and those clashes took place. The police, after finding it very difficult to regain control, eventually gave way to the army. Now, the army's been deployed around Panchkula, and we understand that have slowly started regaining control of those areas around the courthouse where the verdict was declared. But since then, of course, the riots have spread across a number of towns in the states of Punjab and Haryana, north of Delhi. A couple of attacks also reported from the capital Delhi. But again, since then, it's quietened down a bit. There's a heavy deployment of police and security personnel across all these 3 areas, the 2 states I mentioned, as well as Delhi. There have been appeals for calm by senior ministers. The Prime Minister has been briefed on the latest situation. And as for the man at the center of it all, Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, the spiritual leader who was convicted of rape, he was transported by helicopter from the court to a prison where he's being kept until a sentence is pronounced. We believe that will take place on Monday.
Sanjoy, it's not as if authorities were taken by surprise by this. They had been expecting some kind of violent reaction to the verdict.
Yes, that's right. Ahead of the verdict, they had deployed something like 15,000 police and security personnel. That included armed police in and around the courthouse, anticipating violence. But already there is a lot of criticism for the government for failing to actually prevent his supporters from gathering there in the first place. Something like 200,000 of his supporters had gathered in and around Panchkula in the days leading up to this verdict. When he arrived in court earlier today, he arrived in a convoy of 100 vehicles, all of them carrying his supporters. And again, the questions that are being raised is why was this allowed to take place? Because if they were able to control access to the town and prevent his supporters from gathering, perhaps some of this violence could have been contained. They did respond by suspending mobile internet services, but a lot of that came too late because people were already on the ground. And so when the verdict was announced, they simply responded by violence.
Sanjoy, thank you very much. Sanjoy Majumdar there in Delhi. We will be talking a little later in this programme about who is Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh.